for Lundazi constituency. I'm sure we have met and you don't mind me covering for your health. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. You also have two.
Good morning,
participate.
PS and Chair. I'm Engineer Oliver Amutike, Member of Parliament for the good people of Mongo Central, the home of the Komboka ceremony in Barosla. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Mumba.
Good morning, Chairperson. Good morning, Minister of Energy. My name is Anthony Mumba. I'm the Member of Parliament for Kantanchi constituency and a member of the committee. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much. PS, my name is Fred Jatila, Member of Parliament for Momba constituency in Monze. Also the chairperson for the committee. Couple of PS of the laws of Zambia do give you immunity. Committee of Parliament such as this one. So we are conferring you that privilege. We want you to say things as they are. However, there's some immunity to work against you in an event that you are to deliberately mislead the committee, which I doubt to be the case. And also just to indicate that we are live, both on Parliament TV and the radio. So the people who gave us this mandate out there are following the proceedings. So, PS, we have your submission with us as a committee. But however, as always, what we'll do is we'll allow you to take us through your submission. So with your indulgence, maybe we can say we give you a maximum of 30 minutes if you need all of it to take us through the presentation, and then at the end I'll allow the members of this committee to ask questions if at all there will be any questions, and then we'll be done. Okay, having said that, PS, with your team you can start with your presentation.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Chair. I'll start by declaring interest here that I'm a member of Kafula-Futa constituency.
Yeah. So keep an eye.
So I'm appearing before my Member of Parliament.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that he's doing a good job.
Thank you.
Thank you. CDF is working.
Yeah.
The Honorable Chair, my ministry was asked to do the following. One, to show the proportion of the 2025 budget that was released and aggregate expenditure against the budget allocation in the first quarter and how this compares with the first quarter budget of 2024. Two, we were also asked to indicate the underlying factors for any observed variance in the budget performance. Three, challenges, if any, faced in implementing the budget in the first quarter of 2025. Four, projected physical risks in the remaining quarter of 2025, and recommendations on the way forward. Honorable Chair, let me start by the introduction where I'm saying the mandate of the ministry is to develop and manage energy resources in a sustainable manner for the benefit of the people as enshrined in the Government Gazette Notice number 1123 of 2021. Our vision as a ministry is universal access to clean, reliable, and affordable energy at the lowest total economic, financial, social, and environmental cost consistent with the National Development Goals by 2030. This is backed by our mission, which is to increase access to sustainable energy. I know the members of parliament will be itching to ask how sustainable, etc., etc. What are the strategies we have indicated? One is to enhance generation, transmission, and distribution of electricity. 2, to enhance strategic reserves and supply for petroleum products. Promote renewable and alternative energy. And lastly, but not the least, improved energy access to rural and peri-urban areas. What are the programs? In the period under review, Honorable Chair, members of Parliament, members of this committee, the period under review, the ministry contributed to the attainment of strategic focus areas in the 8th National Development Plan through the implementation of 5 programs, such as 1, petroleum development and management. At this point, I would like to inform this committee that on 1st of April this year, we implemented what we are calling the open access to Tazama pipeline. It is working, and we are happy that this is bringing benefits to the people of Zambia. 2, electricity development and electrification management. 3, renewable and alternative energy development and management. 4, energy sector standards and regulations. And 5, management and support services. Coming to the main gist of the matter, and this is the performance, the budget performance for the year 2024. Honorable Chair, members of this committee, I would like to say that the budget performance of the ministry during the period under review outlined the budget performance in terms of budget allocation, releases, and expenditure in line with planned outputs and activities in the 2024 Yellow Book and 2024 Ministerial Work Plan for the Ministry of Energy. The proportion of the 2025 budget that was released and aggregate expenditure against the budget allocation in the first quarter, and how this compares with the first quarter budget 2024. At this point, I would like to find out from the members of this committee whether we've been given the fresh submission that we...
Yes, we have gotten it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, the authorized budget provision 2025 compared to 2024, there is a variance of 384,457,851. What we are seeing is a translation of 20% increase. Because in 2025, we had 2.2 billion, and in 2024, 1.8 9 billion. This is the budget for the whole budget for the Ministry of Energy. Now, releases first quarter of 2025, we received 179,292,361.91 ngwe, compared to what we received in 2024 being 144,662,479.46, a variance of 34,629,822.45 ngwe, hence giving us an increase of 24%. What about the expenditure side of it? In 2025, 169,317,979.84 ngwe, compared to 133,792,579.56 ngwe in 2024, a variance of 35,525,428 ngwe, give us an increase of 27%. So the picture that we are giving here is that at least there has been an increase from 2024 first quarter to 2025 quarter, and the percentages are indicated there. Second, what are the underlying factors for any observed variance in budget performance? Funding was released in accordance with the approved budget and on schedule in both 2024 and 2025. Unlike in the past where the budget, the releases are done in piecemeal, but we are happy that for the Ministry of Energy, we did receive our finances on schedule. What are the challenges? Challenges, if any, faced in implementing the budget in the first quarter of 2025. We would like to say that the ministry did not encounter specific challenges during the implementation. As I have indicated, funding was released on time and in line with the budget profiles. Honorable Chair, coming to the projected fiscal risks in the remaining quarter of 2025, the budget allocated to the ministry, of course, even if the money was released on time, I would like to say that the money was not sufficient. As a result, by the second quarter of 2025, some departments, if not all, and units had already been fully funded, leaving them with without financial support for the remainder of the year. It was quite challenging to carry out certain functions because the remainder of the year was literally dry. Allow me, Honorable Chair, members of this August committee, to conclude by saying, during the first quarter of 2025, the ministry received funding amounting to 179,292,361 and 91 ungwe, of which 169,317,979 ungwe was expended, representing a 79% expenditure rate. The funds were utilized in the implementation of 5 programs as outlined in the Yellow Book and the ministerial plan. We have provided a detailed breakdown of the outputs and activities undertaken in line with the funds released, expended during the first quarter of 2025. Honorable Chair, we have attached the annex, and if there are any questions regarding what we have outlined in the annex, we will be happy to respond to the queries. As you rightly said, I've come with a very formidable group which will assist in terms of making clarifications. I thank you.
Thank you very much, PS, for that submission. Honorable members, any questions? Okay, Honorable Mukosa, Honorable Simushi, Honorable Jamba, then I'll move to my left. Honorable Mukosa.
Thank you, Chair. PS, I'll take you to page 3 of your submission. On point number 2 and number 3. The first one where you talked about underlying factors for any observed variance in budget performance. Your submission is that funding was released in accordance with approved budget and on schedule in both 2024 and 2025. I'll not even take you to 2024. I'll just take you to 2025. When you say it was released on schedule, when you look at your authorized budget provision, the annual provision, it's 2.2 billion. The money that you got is 179. Whereas the money that you were expected to at least get is 572. So my computation tells me that you were underfunded by 93%. By 393 million. You were given a meager amount. I don't understand how you can be happy that we received money on schedule. You were given 179 million, yet you should have received at least 570 million. So I explained to the committee the rationale that you are using to say that the funding was released on schedule. Then, on challenges, if any, faced in implementing the budget in the first quarter, when we gave you this allocation of 2.2 billion kwacha, it's because, as a ministry, there are activities that you said you needed to undertake in this particular year, Permanent Secretary. Therefore, if you do not receive at least the money that you should have in the first quarter, which my estimation is about 570 million, you only get 179, and you only spend money on activities worth 169 million. It means that activities worth over 393 million kwacha have not been implemented. those are implementation challenges because of insufficient funding. So what rationale are you using to state that the ministry did not encounter any challenges during implementation as funding was released on time? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Simushi.
Thank you, PS, for your presentation. Maybe just a quick one in addition to what my colleague has just mentioned, but looking at your releases and your expenditure, I've seen that there is much as you are saying there's an increase. Of course, I'm looking because you are comparing between 2025, 2024. But I think you were given in 2025 779 million, and then you spend 169. So I just wanted to find out why didn't you manage to spend the whole amount, because it appears there's about 10 million that has not been that was not spent. But my question is, when it comes to your program on electricity development and electrification management in relation to load shedding, I think there are issues that right now as a country we have seen an increase in the water levels in our bodies, that is the Kariba Dam and other dams that we have. But there is still no significant reduction in load shedding. So maybe I just wanted to find out from you, what could be the reasons behind that? Because at this stage, you should have expected to see that at least load shedding hours should have reduced drastically. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Honorable Jamba.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, PS. Yes, in fact, in your contributions on page 2, you actually stated that by 1st April you had actually opened the open access to a lot of suppliers. We saw the reduction of fuel going down. I didn't see the target, whether your target for the year 2025 in the first quarter was to make sure that the pipeline was actually opened for the access, because this issue, if you remember last year when we were talking about bringing down the fuel, people were refusing that. No, that thing is an open access, people are accessing it. That was the story which was heard from your ministry, saying no, everyone is supplying. Who says it's not supplying? And today you come, no, we have achieved. When was it a target? And how did you achieve it? And on this budget line, which one were you using to make sure that this actually is targeted? Because this thing, for your own information, Chair, this open access has made the dollar to go haywire, has made a lot of economic problems in this country, because your fuel today you find it is very up, tomorrow it is down, the other day, no, the suppliers, a lot of stories. So we want to hear from your budgeting here. Where did you, which activity is it? What was your target during this quarter? I thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. PS, you can respond to those.
Thank you very much. Let me, with your indulgence, start with the open access. What we mean by open access is that, contrary to what used to happen before the launch of the open access, where we were simply saying, okay, what is your price? Your price is like this, and on that basis we issue a permit. It was a permit. What is happening today is that we have invited OMCs to compete on the basis of premium. If you have been following, you will find that we started with, I think, 82, 83, I think, dollars per metric ton, and that was the lowest. There were other companies who quoted $200 per metric ton, and we said 3 OMCs must be awarded. So the lowest was $83 per metric ton. The rest were slightly over $83, and we had to ask the runners-up to come down to the lowest. By writing, we said, can you confirm that you supply at this rate? And 2 of them responded positively, and hence we had to award the 3 companies. That was the first lot that we did. Second, it came down to 54, if I'm not mistaken. It came down to 54. Third, it has come down to 43. Hence, the price is equally coming down because the premium is coming down. So, open access means we invite these people to compete on the basis of premium. And it's open in the sense that when we are looking at the bids, we invite everybody. And when we are opening, everybody is there to see for themselves. I'm sure you haven't received any complaints so far from the oil marketing companies. So there is no target to say we want the price to be at this level. There's no target. And because of this exercise, we are hoping that in future we should be able to reach stability, because beyond which I don't think our OMCs will be able to supply. So when we reach that, I think we're going to attain the stability. Now, open access is not responsible for the fluctuation in the dollar. It's the other way around. If the dollar performs very badly, we are going to see an impact on oil. So I thought I should just put that clarification clear. The load shedding, there is an increase in water levels. I have my colleagues from ZESCO, but perhaps let me, before ZESCO come in, the water levels that we are seeing with our naked eyes, that water level we are talking about is still very low in terms of power generation. But perhaps let me ask ZESCO to come in. Please, ZESCO.
I think, PS, I think you've put it correctly. The levels are still quite low for us to increase the generation. Thank you.
No, let me finish responding first. No. You can switch on your mic, PS, your mic.
Let me ask my Director of Finance to look at the figures as pointed out by the honorable member. Over to you.
Thank you. I think from my analysis, the members have divided the 2.9 by 4 to get the 572. I think I'll indicate that our work plan is not divided in that manner. We program certain activities in the first quarter and it will not be exactly 5.7. So when you look at our annex, it shows the programs which were planned for the first quarter. So it will not be 572 for first quarter, second and third, no. So our work plan is aligned in a different way, and our first quarter work plan is 169 or just above that. Should I attend to the other part?
Okay.
And then maybe there was an issue on the expenditure. It was 179 against 169. As indicated, other departments have already received funding, even for the rest of the year. So we'll not be able to spend all the money that we have received so far. We'll align it with the work plan, so that will be done as the year progresses.
Honorable Nyirenda, you wanted to ask?
It's just a follow-up question on what our man from ZESCO answered. I think maybe taking advantage of our presence here, and also that you're online and the people out there are able to listen for themselves. In an ordinary way, if you say that the power that you're generating, or maybe the water levels are very low, and then people read that you're exporting power to Botswana, how can you justify that you are not producing power to export and deny Zambians? I submit.
Thank you. Honorable Simushi, so that we combine the follow-ups.
Yeah, thank you so much, Chair. On the same issue, the answer, I think, it's a bit too basic for me to say, yes, the water levels are still low and therefore we cannot reduce load shedding. I don't think that is sufficient to me. But now I want to maybe find out from you. When we came in 2021, there was a backlog of non-connections that you are supposed to do as ESCO. Now I'm trying to relate this to the fact that maybe it could be the reason, but I think I want you to give it, to tell us as a committee, to what extent that backlog has had an impact on you maybe increasing the load shedding, reducing load shedding hours. And also, we have seen quite a number of industries coming on board, new mines coming on board and so on. Also, has this had an effect on you failing to reduce load shedding, other than saying that the water levels are too low? Because water levels have increased, we know that. So ultimately, we expected to see some level of reduction in the load shedding. But if you say just that plainly, I think then I don't think that is sufficient.
PS, you can comment or respond to those two.
Thank you very much. Perhaps allow me to ask ZESCO to be a bit more detailed about the generation. I would like ZESCO to give us how much we are generating today compared to what we were generating maybe 6 months ago. Then you will see, but certainly the load shedding is going to come down, that's for sure, but not to the expected levels of maybe 2 years ago. I would like to make it very, very clear. And when we talk about exporting power to Botswana, I don't have the figures, if any, but perhaps ZESCO, you can chip in. Thank you.
Chair and PS, I don't know how we can do it. Right now, we don't have the figures on the generation. We don't have them off the cuff. I don't know if it's possible we can be allowed to submit them. We don't have the current generation as of now.
Point of order, Honorable Chairperson.
Okay, Honorable Mumba, your point of order.
The gentleman from ZESCO, what does he mean he doesn't have the figures? And he's coming to make a presentation to such an important committee. You know how load shedding has impaired our economy. Manufacturing, small businesses are struggling. How can he not have such a simple figure? Our total generation when ZESCO is operating at optimum is around 3,000. How can he not know where we are standing? I think I need some very serious guidance from you, Chairperson.
Okay, Honorable Mumba, your point of order is sustained. I think if you look at the question from Honorable Nyirenda, basically that's a general question, not for figures, isn't it? Our estimation is that we have load shedding, you are exporting, water levels are high, according to us. Okay, we still see this load shedding. I don't think that needs the figures, isn't it? It's a general response. Honorable Mukosa, you can wait. So what these members want to understand is, like the way she's putting it, you are exporting power, isn't it? Your response, what you expect is, either you are exporting and what are the reasons? Because it's at the expense of the Zambians, isn't it, Honorable Nyirenda? Honorable Nyirenda, that's the question, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so answer it as it has been given. Yeah, you have the immunity. If it was for the Director of Finance, we can ask her for figures, for more figures, yes, because this is our interest. But that one, you really don't need the figures. You respond it, and this is why we have a challenge. Well, PS, allow these people to be free to respond. We don't want them to be tied. We want them to respond as the questions are given. If they are not capable of responding, then why did they come here? A more senior person from ZESCO should have been here. So can you respond to that question which has been given?
Thank you, Chair. So the earlier response was, I think the PS had mentioned that the current generation is the number which I didn't have, but the exports which I think the honourable member is referring to are the low volume, those small towns near Zambia, which go there. That's why there's a bit of export there. There's low. It's just purely the low volume exports.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
What was your follow-up question about Smushi?
My question was, I think the lack of detail as to why, despite the water levels increasing, load shedding is not reducing. And then I tried to give some insight, to say maybe it could be due to the fact that we have seen more people getting connected and also maybe more industries coming on board. So is it true, or is that also part of the contributing factors, other than just saying the water levels are still low?
PS?
Thank you, Chair. First of all, yes, I would like to agree with the honourable member here that ZESCO has worked tirelessly to reduce on the backlog of those connections. Yes, again, the mines are on board, and out of the generation that we have, 600 megawatts go to the mines only. 600 megawatts to the mines, and with the generation of slightly over 1,000 1,040 or 50 thereabout, you see that the balance is around 450 megawatts, which we are now made to share. Now, out of that 450 megawatts, there are those institutions which are exempt from load shedding. Hence, we are remaining with a paltry 300 megawatts to go round. Honorable Chair, the fact of the matter is that, yes, there is an improvement in the water levels, and that improvement in the water levels will result in an increase in generation. But we just have to be patient a bit, because we are still receiving water from the sources that feed our generation plants. But certainly, I think, was it last week when ZESCO management actually indicated that load shedding is going to reduce by a certain percentage because of that small increase in the water levels that we are talking about. Certainly, the people have not seen much in terms of the reduction in the load shedding, but be rest assured that load shedding figures are going down any time from now. I thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Mumba, you had a question, isn't it? Or it's gone?
I have a question, Honorable Chair.
Okay, Honorable Mumba. You want to pass?
For me, Chair, is just, just like PS declared interest, having worked in that ministry. I wouldn't want to ask them a question, but just like I keep on saying, PS, you have a huge mandate on behalf of the presidency and on behalf of the Zambian people. Just like my colleagues have said on some of the answers we are getting, you are not really helping, But for me, in terms of this huge mandate that you have, my humble request to you is that, and you are a veteran in that ministry, continue supporting the minister, because if you look at your budget, there is insufficient money for investment. But you can only use this administrative budget to attract investment. We have got the Batoka Gorge, that potential. We've got the Luapula River Basin, the new Tazama pipeline, our strategic fuel reserve. So this huge, mandate that you carry on behalf of the state is just so huge. And I hope your team that you have, they'll continue also supporting you so that we unlock the potential in this. Because if you look at the budget, no significant money, Chair, to invest in all these. But you can only use this administrative budget, fly into China, speak to Power China. Guys, we have got this potential, come and invest. So for me, I can only wish you the best with your team. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Simunji.
Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Mumba Ward. Honorable Simunji.
Chair, PS, I'll take you to page 6. The last item there, rear projects. I've got a concern with the rear projects because there's a note there which says, one, delays in the supply for materials by suppliers, and two, poor performance by some contractors. So my concern is on the item 2. Poor performance by some contractors. I would agree with you if projects are delayed because there's poor funding. But in this case, it's assumed funds are available, but it's the contractors who we pick who are not able to do the job. These projects are normally advertised, tendered, and the contractors are scrutinized. The best is given, and I'm sure even experience will be one of the factors. What why should we pick a contractor who has got no experience, who has got no capacity to do the work, such that the citizens are suffering because they are not being given the power they need because RIA are not able to get the right contractors. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Honorable Mumba.
Thank you, Chairperson. PS, I would draw your attention to a very important issue you made presentation to, and that is the open access of our pipeline. And I'm happy as a citizen that the intended objective of opening up the pipeline was finally achieved on the date you mentioned, I think 3rd of April. But I wanted to find out from you as a ministry, bearing in mind that I remember when you were being sworn in, you were asked to ensure that there should be no monthly price adjustments. And obviously, the president was focusing on the pipeline since it was operational. Why, as a ministry, did it take you so long to properly open up the pipeline and ensure that this benefit you're talking about was actually acquired or passed on to our people as early as last year? Why did you take this long? And secondly, why did you also, as a ministry, not have clear guidelines prepared in readiness for the opening of the pipeline? And that only happened after, there was so much pressure coming from OMCs who felt that they were not benefiting in terms of business to try and supply cheaper fuel to our country. I would want very clear answers on those two points. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you. PS, you can respond.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. The RIA issue, allow me to ask our colleague from RIA to chip in, but perhaps before he does that, let us also bear in mind that much as we try to support our local contractors, I think we have been let down. Yes, I agree. We've been let down by our own people. You see, we don't want all the time to involve multinationals on jobs that can be done by our own people. Unfortunately, some of them are not as good as we expected. How else are we going to empower our people? Because this is one way of creating wealth for our people. But, Honorable Chair, yes, we've been disappointed. But perhaps let me ask RIA to come in. Please, over to you.
Thank you, PS. Thank you, Chair and members. The process of selecting the would-be contractors.
Maybe you can speak closer to the mic so that our listeners there can be following.
Thank you, Chair. I hope I'm audible enough now.
Yeah.
I was saying the process of selecting the would-be contractors to implement the reunification project projects is very transparent and very open, and everyone is able to see the tender documents that are availed to the public. It highlights the legal documents that they need to produce, their work experience, their financial capacity. It is on that basis that the contractors are basically evaluated and then awarded the contracts accordingly. So like the PS has rightly mentioned, these projects or the infrastructure that we are building should be sustained by us Zambians. And our interest is to build capacity in these locals to be able to supply and also implement and operationalize all this infrastructure in our country. So for those contractors that do not perform, there's a legal framework that is available by reporting these contractors to ZPPA that will actually engage them and they also take actions. And I'm sure you've at times maybe received reports on actions that Zambia Procurement Authority would take with regards to those contractors. So I'll end there. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Yes, my namesake, Honorable Mumba, did mention an issue about access to Tazama pipeline. Thank you, Honorable, for admitting that the open access is now working. Why did it take so long? Open access had a plethora of encumbrances. And we were trying to see how best to take care of these encumbrances. If I may mention that up to now, we are still owing OMCs who supplied before this administration came into office. Others have even threatened to take us to court. In fact, others have taken us to court. And therefore, for the use of the pipeline, we faced a huge task of cleaning it up before the open access could actually take effect. For the guidelines, I think we have done quite a lot. The first guidelines which we came up with, I think when they were submitted to the National Procurement Authority, I think there were certain observations which were made, and therefore we couldn't proceed with this first set of guidelines. I want to assure Honorable Mumba that we now have a fresh set of guidelines which are now operating, but we will continue to review from time to time because times are changing and would like to see that the open access is refined to the best of the expectations of our people. So basically, that's why it took a bit of time. But again, let me appeal to our people of Zambia, our contractors, that please, we mean well as a ministry. We would like to empower as many people as possible, but help us so that we can also help you. Because the kind of behavior we are seeing, RIA, once you are given an award, you are paid 25%. of the contract money. Our colleagues, what do? They rush to South Africa, and so that tomorrow morning they are driving these huge vehicles. But we need to see a set change. Honorable Mabumba, thank you very much. Yes, the task is heavy for the ministry. The ministry doesn't receive much funding, but yes, the little that we have received, we've managed to attract investors in solar. We've managed to attract investors in coal, although coal is a sensitive matter, but we have no choice because we have got huge reserves of coal, and with coal, power is stable, unlike the power that we get from solar. So, Honorable Mabumba, thank you very much. Batoka, yes, we are still looking at attracting investors for Batoka. So far, we have seen some appetite in that direction for Batoka. I thank you.
Thank you. Director of Finance, I want to take you back to the discussion that which, the question that which Honorable Mukhosa had raised. Your total budget, if you go to the, is 2.2 billion. Your releases for 2025, the first quarter, that was what was planned, is 179 million, which is a portrait like almost 7.8% of the total budget, 7.8%. And I get you when you are saying, I mean, usually that's what we do in our accounting finance. If you give me the total, that's 2.2, I'll divide it by 4 somehow, so that we see how the balance is. So it's the gap from about 572. First quarter, which is 3 months, we have only given an activity for 7.8 million, 7.8% of the total. Not knowing the type of projects that which you want to do in the second, third, and the fourth quarter for you to meet that gap. That's why I was saying, okay, somehow we're about 93% behind. And that gives this committee a word. Now a background to it, PSU appeared before this committee when we were doing this budget in 2024. And in fact, one of the concerns this committee had, we have a bit of leverage now to recommend to the Minister of Finance, say, can you move money from this ministry to this ministry? One of the ministries which wanted that to be done was your ministry to move money, as little as it is, to move it to other ministries, some of the allocation. And the reason is because of the low burn rate. And the usual culprit within here is RIA. He has given a lot of money. At the end of the year, you find they've only maybe done 30% of what they have been allocated to. And we have been in this committee for quite a long time. And if you look at that trajectory, the trend for RIA has quite been bad. In terms of what they are given and their burn rate, maybe it's what Honorable Simungi was saying, these contractual processes and the like affecting that. But just having said that, Director Budget Finance, I just wanted to find out what major activities did you plan to do for second, third, and fourth quarter, which you would have not upped in terms of allocations for the first quarter? That was going to be my number one question. Then if you go to, so when I end up and I'll give you program 2102. Okay, page number 5. So that we go into the specific of 2102, electricity development and electrification management. Okay, your release is 96 million. Your expenditure is only 2.2%. percent, giving a Benny rate of 2.3%. 2.3% for the whole quarter, only 2.3%. How would you explain that low kind of Benny rate? Okay, would you want to, let's take the last and then we can conclude. Honorable Munyiranda and Honorable Smosh.
Thank you so much. PS, in your response, you indicated that some of the oil marketing companies, they want to take you to court, or maybe you're already in court, which brings a serious worry to us as parliamentarians that our government now will be taken to court. But the interest which I have concerning that is that Parliament was recalled so that the Minister of Finance can come and ask us to approve a budget where we could borrow money, and that money should be used to pay off the debt which was owing. Now, if I hear that you are being taken to court, I would want to find out how much of that money which we approved in the surplus budget, which was meant for clearing off the, I can call it what, debt from the oil marketing company. How much from this, your budget, were you given in order to clear off some? And how many have you been able to pay? And how many, or I can just say, how much are we still owing?
Thank you.
Especially that we were called upon to approve.
Thank you.
Thank
Honorable Smushi.
Thank you, Chair. I still want to take you back to the question on the export of power. And I think the response that was given, again, I feel ZESCO is not giving us the detail that we need. And especially that you see people are listening to what is being discussed here. The export of power, if it's left to the explanation that has been given, I think it will make people think that maybe this country or this government may not be doing the right thing. I want him to tell us. What I know is the export of power has reduced. This government has cut a reduction of some power that was being exported. And also, I'm alive to the fact that this country belongs to what they call as the Southern Power Pool, where I feel we have certain contractual obligations, which also may have led to us not completely cutting off the exports of the power. So the question that I have to the PS and his team is, why are you not speaking to these issues so that the Zambians out there understand the actual situation that we are faced with? You are being, you're not giving us the details.
Okay, PS, you can respond to those, but also before you respond, because in his response from ZESCO, in fact, he had requested that maybe we give them time to give us a detailed report, and I've been communicated that we need that report to come. We are winding up on, is it second, which is next week, Tuesday. So if that report can come before these members, before Tuesday next, that would be good. We would want to see that report. Okay, PS, you can respond to those.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. I think this issue of exports of power is quite important, and I'm happy that the Honorable Member of Parliament is quite well informed about ZESCO and the exports. I want to say this, that before the reduction of exports, ZESCO was exporting in excess of 500 megawatts. 500 megawatts. As we speak, I may not have the exact number, but it's slightly over 100 megawatts. maybe in the region between 110 and 120 megawatts. We've clawed back the exports because of the situation in our country. Yes, we belong to these groupings. Imagine if we were not good neighbors. We are surviving today because we are also importing power from Mozambique, from South Africa, and as we speak, we are talking of the interconnector between Tanzania and Zambia so that we can start trading, not only importing, but also exporting to that block. Fortunately, the interconnector now is a reality. We should be able to have it operational by end of next year. So, yes, in addition to that detailed report, but I just want to assure the people that we've reduced imports from 500 to slightly 100 because we cannot simply cut off abruptly. Will be affecting a lot of things. Honorable Nyirenda, how much are we still owing? We are owing in excess of 300 million US dollars. 300 million US dollars. I want to give you the exact figure as to how much we have paid, but certainly some OMCs have been paid and we are still paying. Thank you.
Thank you. Director of Finance. If you, my question was direct to you.
Thank you, Honorable. Maybe I could request that maybe Director Planning,
okay,
because they're the ones who have the planned activities.
Okay.
Maybe.
Thank you very much. If I got the question correctly, you're asking the activities for the subsequent part of the year? Okay. So we have inspection of key solar projects and interconnectors. That is under electricity development and electrification management. So under this one, we have Rural Electrification Authority.
No, oh, sorry, in fact, it was not like for you to highlight the activities per se. My worry was you have 2.2 billion.
Okay.
And out of that, for the first quarter, you only out of that you have allocated 7.8% of that amount, which is 179. So the worry for this committee is, how are you going to, we are not saying you are behind. When you see the 93% remaining, which activities you want to do in these 3 quarters, how capable are you in achieving those, considering that your ministry has had this historical problem of very low benefit rates even when we are funded? That was my first one. Then the one which was specific was that project 2002 under the 2025 quarter 1, page number 5. Because the director of planning, are you there on page number 25? Page 5, sorry. Page 5, project 2102, the last one. You saying is that one, isn't it? You were given, first quarter, you were given 96 million. Out of 96 million, you only utilized 2.2, which is a 2.3% benefit, 2.3% in the first quarter. And these are red flags, like as what Honorable Mukosa was saying initially. So that's why we're asking why this low benefit. Because we're there too.
I think, Honorable Chair, we need to look at this critically. perhaps as we submit that detailed report from ZESCO, we can also include this item.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, having taken that, let's take the last question from Honorable Smunji. Honorable Smunji.
Thank you, Chair. PS, my question is actually, this is in addition to what the Vice Chair lady was talking about on the legacy debt. You have stated here that actually there are some companies which are about to take the country to court because we are not paying them. In the 2020, when we were sitting for the 2025 budget, actually when we were recorded, one of the items which was brought on board was a 6 billion kwacha, which was meant to clear the debt. Why? Because this debt, the interest rates are just too high to manage. But after the authority was granted, there was no activity to go and get the money wherever it was supposed to be gotten, so that we can save we could have saved the country from this extra debt. Was there no collaboration between your ministry and the Ministry of Finance so that we could activate to get this money and pay this debt? Thank you very much.
Thank you. PS, you can respond to that one.
It's a difficult one. Difficult in the sense that it falls squarely on the laps of the Ministry of Finance. There are certain protocols which they follow, and I wouldn't be the best person to explain why they did not take advantage of that 6 billion. It's beyond me. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, we need to close. We have come to the end of our time with the PS Minister of Energy. Thank you very much, PS, and your team for coming through. So we'll wait for those documents, supplementary documents, as we wind up our week as a committee. So Capricorn of the laws of Zambia in terms of the immunity that which was given to you earlier on, will also end here. Do have a good day. Thank you very much for coming, sir.
Thank you very much. I would like to, on behalf of my colleagues, and indeed on my own behalf, I would like to thank you, Honorable Chair, the members of the committee, for inviting us to this August committee. Certainly, we would do better by providing more details to questions which are still hanging.
Thank you.
But let me just assure the people of Zambia that load shedding certainly is coming down because of that small increase in the water levels. And apart from that, we are implementing the 100 megawatt solar, which is, I think, come end of this month, it will be operational. This is the Chisamba solar. And we are also having other solar projects down the line. We should be able to be slightly more comfortable by the end of the year because of the projects that we have lined up. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Well, there you have it. The Ministry of Energy, led by their Permanent Secretary, Mr. Peter Mumba, have made their submission before the Planning and Budgeting Committee on the consideration of the budget performance review of 2024 financial year and the first quarter 2025. Keep watching Parliament Television. Shortly we will cross back to the Planning and Budgeting Committee, and this time around the Ministry of Agriculture will be making its submission before the committee.